All right, welcome. We are going to be going over the Spectracell micronutrient panel, and will tell us a little bit about the results. So let's get started. So we are going over sample, obviously. So the results here, if you look at the top under functional deficiencies, these are the deficiencies that you have a great deficiency in. Whatever's listed here is the different nutrients as well as the dose that they recommend taking to replenish the deficiencies. Typically, anything deficient, if you continue to take this nutrient, it should be replenished in a few months. The reason I like Spectracell, the testing, is it's an intracellular test. Intracellular means like it's actually within the white blood cell of your body. So a lot of different vitamins can just be whatever's in the blood, which the body doesn't like to keep nutrients in the blood because obviously it wants to use it. It just doesn't want it to hang out in the blood. It wants to pull it into the organs so that it can use it for energy and nutrient support. As the organs work on nutrients for fuel, so if you're not getting enough nutrients, then it causes an imbalance in that organ or gland, which obviously causes negative symptoms. So I like this test because it's actually testing what's inside the cell, which is typical, like overall a 6-month period, what you're having in your body instead of, what maybe you've taken within the last couple days. So it gives you more broad range. So anything in a functional deficiency area is definitely something that you should look into getting more of because you're deficient and you're deficient at the level of a 6-month deficiency. Borderline deficiencies are those that aren't within an optimal range and are kind of on the way of being deficient. So it's definitely something that you want to look into and start taking as well. So it prevents that functional deficiency, which causes a function to not work in the body, which creates like fatigue or hormone issues or something major. So here you can see antioxidant function. So this page, I love this page because it pretty much sums up the whole test. And then the rest of the pages just kind of go into more detail and kind of give you more angles of it. But this is the page that you look at if you want to know the whole summary of the test. So this Spectracell antioxidant function. So this tells you how well you are taking, how much antioxidants are in your system. Antioxidants protect your cell, protect your DNA from aging, from damage. So you want your antioxidant function to be high. If it isn't, then you need to look into anything bright colored foods typically help to protect you and bring more antioxidants. So if you eat the rainbow of foods, the rainbow of colors, then a lot of times that increases your antioxidants. If you have a lot of inflammation in your body, that's something that will draw the antioxidant status down, causing more aging and issues. So the more antioxidants are in your body, it will protect you and reverse disease. But if you have really low antioxidants function and you're taking a lot of antioxidants, it tells me that there's inflammation present. If you're not taking a lot of antioxidants like curcumin, fish oil, vitamin E, like pomegranates and like a variety of different colors in your diet, then that may be the reason why it's low. If you just go, a side note, if you just got over COVID is kind of like a hurricane of inflammation and it causes great inflammation. So a lot of people, that's why they're having the post-COVID syndrome because their inflammation is high and that makes you feel horrible. This next section with the immunindex, it's an immune system index, which I think is really important. How well you're gonna fare with COVID, for instance, or just like the typical flu or cold or whatnot. Typically you want this in the green. If it is red, it means that your immune system is low. So if you look at this according to your age, so you find your age on the bottom here, and then this is how well you can fare immune-wise, your immune function, and then this is kind of like your average. So you want to be above the line. You want to be above average, or at least around the line that tells you your average. Obviously, you want this more simple way to read it is you just want to be in the green. If you're not in the green, then we need to work on your immune system to protect you from all that's going on now. or you may have an autoimmune condition. So we'll get, it comes back to that too. So this is just like I think they're just putting it in different ways for different types of learning for different types of people. Again, it's the same thing, but it's listing the different vitamins. And then again, if it's red, it's definitely deficient. If it's black, then it's borderline deficiency. And you want it to be all green and the dot to be white. But it kind of gives you more of a quantitative view of each line item, each vitamin that may be deficient. It's pretty straightforward. You know, again, the red is deficient, borderline, normal is green and white. And then it, you know, again, shows you another little picture. So now we're getting into carbohydrate metabolism, glucose and insulin. So glucose is what breaks down into sugar molecules. So if you eat any carbohydrate, if you will, it's going to break down into glucose. If you eat a fruit or if you have anything with high fructose corn syrup, then you'll have, and your body's not doing well with it, then this will be in the wrong range. It'll either be in the yellow or the gray. It may be in the red. If this is red, then I would highly suggest that you avoid fruit and anything with like fructose. So if you look at the label, start reading labels, anything that ends in OSE is a sugar. Anything that says fructose obviously is made from fruit sugar. And your body's just not doing well with it. So it would probably be good to at least take 6 weeks at minimum, if not like 3 months, where you avoid fruit. And that will make this, that will improve this. You also may have some blood sugar overall issues. So if all of this is in the red, this top carbohydrate metabolism, all that's in the red, then it's highly suggestive that you definitely avoid fruit and then you limit your carbohydrate intake. And then we can work, you can make an appointment with me and we can definitely work on ways to fix this, because it means that you're on your way to diabetes or insulin resistance. And that's no good. And then again, it repeats this antioxidant function and then your immune function. So I guess I can make this bigger. Yeah, that's better. So yeah, the yellow is 40 to 55%. And then you want it to be above 65%, your antioxidants, because that protects you from aging and from disease. The seed that grows disease is inflammation. So that's the #1 thing that I investigate highly to find out what's causing whatever disease or dis-ease that your body's going through, which is causing like your symptoms, the bad symptoms. And then I usually counter it with antioxidants. So that's why it's so important to eat such a fresh, highly colored diet. When you have a plate, it should be all different colors. If it's not all different colors, then you're just not getting the proper antioxidants, the nutrients, the things that are going to keep you young. If your plate is full of brown and white and black, or I don't know, black, brown, if it's monocolored, you're just not getting enough in there. It should be like a piece of artwork. And then again, for the immune system, you want to make sure your immune system is strong, obviously. So this kind of goes through the methodology and what they do. They harvest it, and it actually takes them a few weeks or months. I can't remember, but it takes a few weeks, obviously, because it only took a couple weeks to get it back, but it does take multiple, at least a week, 5 days. They actually culture it, and then they test each nutrient on the cells that come from your blood. And that's how they know if it's deficient or not, because the cell will actually react to the nutrient if it's highly deficient. This gets into the old science. So this is a Krebs cycle, or how your body makes energy. And then they kind of show how each nutrient is so important in the cycles. So you could see why, you know, like a B1 deficiency is going to affect your ability to have energy. B3, all the B vitamins are so important for everything. You know, yellow is borderline, red is deficient. And then the methylation cycle. So everything comes down to methylation. It's just a term for B vitamins, really. And the methyl groups is just a carbon and 3 hydrogens. Not that you really want to know about that, but it's so important in neurotransmitters. So in your moods, folate cycle is important because it's the backbone to your DNA. And then methionine is super important for detoxification. So again, if you're not getting proper nutrients, then you're just not getting, you're just not going to feel well, or you're just not going to do well. One thing to know about the methylation is you methylate higher when you're at higher stress levels. So as your stress goes up, your need for supplements usually go up. So usually the highest stressed out patients I have are the hardest to get better because they're constantly moving through those methyl groups. They're constantly moving through the nutrients and the supplements that I try to give them. So it's always better to try to manage your stress and make sure you're taking time for yourself and making sure that you're doing things that kind of put energy back into your energy bank instead of taking it away, or it's just going to be hard to get you better. This one's like one of my favorite sections because it takes what you're definitely deficient in. It tells you what that mineral or nutrient does, what symptoms that you may or may not have, and then the food that you can focus on to help replenish it. Because again, if you're eating a crappy diet, no matter how many supplements you take, it's just not going to correct it. But if you can fulfill it with the proper food sources, then you'll be able to replenish or replete everything, correct everything that is deficient. So good things. And then this glucose insulin interaction is also important. Note is if you're a woman and you're kind of getting into that perimenopause, menopause stage, the closer you get to menopause and then after menopause, unfortunately, the more you're going to have issues with insulin. And then the more issues you have with insulin, the thicker you get in the middle of your body, the more weight you gain, and then the more hormone issues you have. So every 10 years you age, your metabolism drops by 10%. So you just can't eat as much as you used to. You have to be more active, and then you have to cut out the carbs, which will keep your insulin levels lower. So just a quick tip on that. So yeah, goes through that and glutathione, and then the immune system, if it was out of whack, out of balance, then what that means. And as you get older, your immune system just declines. Unfortunately, you're just not as strong. Your cells don't react as well. So that's why it's more and more important to take care of yourself, eat well, so that your immune system can be strong. Yeah. And most, no, never mind. Yeah, so it keeps going. So thanks for joining. Hope you learned something. Oops. Let me